Anxious attachment styles often have what they seem to think are the best first dates. They may feel like they hit it off, they really connect with somebody, and then that person disappears, doesn't follow up, doesn't continuously make plans. And there are usually three very subtle reasons why. And these three very things are things that when you learn to do them differently will completely revolutionize your dating experience. So let's talk about them. First thing that anxious attachment styles can really improve on is not equating the quality of the date to the length of the date. A lot of anxious attachment styles tend to think that because they went on a first date with somebody and it lasted for 3, 4, 5 hours, that means they hit it off. And on one hand, yes, that's true. Obviously, somebody had to want to stay that long for things to be going well. But if this is a first date, a second date, a third date, if it's really early days, spending that much time with somebody early on often scares them. Now, it's not a conscious fear, but what often ends up taking place is the person on the date, when they think of setting up a second date or a third date or a fourth date, they think, I better be prepared for a 5 hour commitment. And so what's happening is you're moving too fast on the date in regards to the amount of time you spend with somebody. And I have seen countless individuals over the years who are anxiously attached. This literally happened with a friend of mine a couple of days ago. They said, Thais, I was with somebody for 7 hours. And I thought that meant everything went so well. I thought that must mean we just really hit it off. But then they never followed up. And what ends up taking place is somebody thinks, oh my gosh, the second date also has to be 7 hours. And a lot of people either have commitment fears or they simply don't want to move that fast. And so the idea that a 7 hour commitment for every date is the new normal can be really overwhelming. Second thing, anxious attachment styles do not give themselves nearly enough credit when it comes to vetting in a relationship. What do I mean by vetting in a relationship? I mean that you need to, as an anxious attachment style, be asking questions to put the other person slightly on the spot. Research into relationships indicates that people who feel too supported and feel like their partner is too agreeable or the person they're dating is too agreeable all the time more easily lose interest. By the same token, if somebody feels overly challenged in a relationship all the time with minimal support, they will also lose interest. But there is a sweet spot somewhere in the middle where if you feel like that person is going to be there, wants to support you, wants to get to know you, but also is willing to challenge you a little bit here and there or ask you tough questions or figure out if you're a good fit for them too, that is actually a trait that becomes highly attractive to somebody, especially in the dating stage of a relationship. And often what happens is anxious attachment styles go so far, so fast into that people-pleasing dynamic of being too agreeable, and it leaves a person feeling over-supported and not challenged much at all, which obviously will lead to a decrease in that feeling of attraction. Number three, before I tell you the last and really important thing here, I do want to let you know that if you are somebody who is struggling with dating or struggling in relationships, not really getting the relationship to the point of commitment or closeness that you want, I have a course that you can check out for free all about this. It's all about anxious attachment styles and how to master the dating stage of relationships. But this month, we're doing something totally different because this was a huge hit with people in the past. We are going to offer that course as a part of our 7-day free trial, plus include our attachment styles and sex course for life with free access. In other words, just by signing up for the 7-day free trial and checking out any courses that you prefer, including the Master the Dating Stage course, you also get to keep the attachment styles and sex course for life. That's over a $200 value. And in doing that, that will actually help you learn about all the different patterns around intimacy of all different attachment styles and get some really powerful insight into that as a whole. Now, point number three here is really important. Anxious attachment styles, when it comes to dating, when you start to become intentional, it can't feel like a job interview either. Okay. So the job of being intentional and vetting is not to go from never vetting at all and asking any questions to suddenly asking all sorts of questions as if somebody's sitting down and just getting fire hosed and put on the spot. No, instead, it's supposed to be that you go on a first date, see if there's chemistry. Your first date should last maybe an hour, go for a quick drink or a coffee, something really simple and low commitment. And then every date after that can be a little more serious, spend a little more time. And you ideally want to ask 1 or 2 vetting questions per date. So if, for example, one of your non-negotiables in a future relationship is, I want to make sure that I only date somebody who's willing to do the work and to hash out the situation if there's ever a conflict, then you might ask that on a second date. That might be one of the first things you ask in terms of getting to know the person, not when you first sit down for the date. So you might sit down, maybe you're hanging out for half an hour, 45 minutes, you're in conversation, and you just bring up in passing, I'm so curious, how do you tend to handle conflict? Are you somebody who likes to hash things out and make sure everything's smoothed over, or do you tend to kind of sweep things under the rug? And by asking that question, you're getting to the bottom of who somebody is and making sure that you're not just investing people because you find them attractive or fun, but that it's much more beyond that. It's also, is this person truly a good fit for my life? Are they what I'm looking for? And by moving from the inside out instead of the outside in, oh, I think they're fun and attractive, and let me just try to win them over, then you have a much greater chance at being in a situation where you're going to be interested in this person and things will work. Now, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is an analogy, which is if you get on Indeed and you decide that you have to look for jobs, are you going to sit down and literally apply to the first 10 jobs that you just think might be cool? No, that wouldn't be effective. What you're going to do is you're going to job search a career path that's interesting to you, that you know you already like, that maybe you have a skill set for, or an educational background that supports it. You have to be intentional. You have to know what you're looking for because that increases your chances at job and career fulfillment as well as success. And that's not different when it comes to dating. You're going to be going, what am I looking for? What traits are important to me? What are my non-negotiables? And where am I most likely to find people like this? And if I'm getting to know somebody, let me get to the bottom of whether or not this person is those things that I'm intending. And by doing that, just like with a job, you increase your chances of thriving. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of our future videos. Tomorrow we'll be talking about other attachment styles and how they can improve dating. And thank you for watching.